The Hobbs Building was built in about 1905. It's a late building for this part of the West Bottoms. It's a new building for this part of the West Bottoms. I got it maybe 15 years ago. When I got this particular building, it was completely vacant. It was scheduled for demolition. We joke that it has 176 windows in it. We joke it had no windows. It was funny. I was having a beer with a foreclosure banker that I know, and I was talking to him about this, telling him about this wild building I saw as a great opportunity. He was telling me about this horrible problem he had in his loan portfolio, this terrible building that was about to collapse and burn down. And we realized we were talking about the same building. So I made a deal with them. This building was very cheap. And I had rented space in this building before. Some people that had graduated from the Art Institute had rented it and tried to make it into an art facilities building. I had consulted for them, told them a little bit about it. They had built a couple of floors of studios. And then the owner was a bad guy. He wouldn't take care of it. The elevators got shut off. Everybody had to move out. 5 years later, I buy it. And so then I revived it as our warehouse, our workshops, and started our studio.
Built the truck. Loaded up and moving south. A lonely loading ramp in double load for a van. There ain't no way I can deny it. She left me for another man.
So how did you go about bringing back to life the arts in the building?
Well, we just knew that it had a little bit of a previous history from the guys. It had been called Sight, and it was a very energetic building back then. And we just knew we wanted to make it a studios building, and it's when we were doing the Carnival building. And we knew we wanted to make it a studios building, and so we just turned it back on with that purpose and that thing in mind. And immediately we had the third floor and the fourth floor that were all studios. We rented the sixth floor to a business, the herb company that's still here. But it didn't take very long before we were done building. We had already rented probably the first 15 or 20 studios that are on the third and fourth floor. And so it just immediately took a life of its own and started going from there. It was certainly a lot colder and a lot less fixed up, and but we had put all the new windows in it, and we started by putting the radiator system back in it.
Actually, it started with Rebecca Wilkinson, who moved to Florida, and she had started it a year before I moved into the space, and then I took it over from her because she moved away. But we pretty much try to get everyone in the building involved each time, so it takes a lot of grunt work with each of us, trying to get advertisement, trying to get everyone involved, and most of the time everyone is interested in doing it.
And how many times a year do you hold the event?
Twice a year. We do it in the spring and the fall.
Do you have a date for the next?
Yes. Actually, the dates are set from here on out. They're always going to be the second weekend in April and second weekend in October.
Can people outside of the building contact
Actually,
you about
yes, and I actually show a few different people in here. I have a guy showing his clocks, Blake, and my friend always shows her ceramics. So people outside can always call and see if we've got space.
And they contact you?
Yes.
Built the truck. Where that woman put me out. And now they love it, crying. Loaded up and moving south. Picked up a young man.
Now that you've done the restoration and you have the new mechanicals and the new windows and a lot of arts and professional tenants in the building, what do you see the future of the Hobbs being?
Really, it's so big and there's so much opportunity here that every time we go further, we feel like we've just scratched the surface. And really what we've been doing over the years is taking the great opportunities a little further. Like when several years ago we further developed the first floor by putting in the commercial kitchen and renting it out to Feast of Fancy, and then collaborating with them to use it for art shows, and now with the printmaking studios in the basement. That had always been a dungeon, it had been storage, and now we're evolving that. So we really see that there's a lot of opportunities. We haven't attacked the outdoor yard. We have ideas for other things that we can do out there in relationship to the studios upstairs. So there's really just a lot of obvious things where we can take the great facility we've created to the next level in many ways, and that's really the plan.
Well, it's a fantastic building. I'm sure everybody that I've talked to enjoys it. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Got it, man. That's great, Tony.